As you're gearing up and preparing for your archery elk hunts this fall, there are 5 critical mistakes that you're going to want to avoid. And I'm going to break each of them down for you right here. Most archery elk hunts happen during the pre-rut and the peak rut, which is when the bulls are hopefully fired up and bugling their heads off. And there are definitely some archery hunts that stretch into the post-rut or the late season, but today we're going to focus on the greatest spectacle in bow hunting, and that's the elk rut. So the 5 mistakes you're going to want to avoid related to archery elk hunting. And these are going to be just the tip of the iceberg of several things that you'll want to keep in mind as you head out this elk season. And if you want more in-depth discussion on important topics like elk behavior, shot placement, calling strategies, and a lot more, I've got you covered in my newly updated University of Elk Hunting online courses over at Outdoor Class. But here are my top 5 archery elk hunting mistakes. Number 1, not paying enough attention to the thermals. And I've seen it year after year, season after season. Most elk hunters don't pay enough attention to the wind. Whether it's hiking into a hunting area, covering country to find elk, moving into setup, or in the actual setup itself, if you're not constantly checking the wind and adjusting to keep the wind in your favor, your odds of success are quite literally going to be below average. Number 2, being too timid when you're calling. Calling's the ultimate thrill when it comes to hunting elk, but most hunters, either because they're not confident in their calling abilities or they maybe don't understand why calling really works, they just aren't aggressive enough when they engage with a bull elk. When it comes to calling, it's more important to understand why an elk will come in, and probably less important to understand how to actually get the elk to come in. A bull elk in the rut is going to respond to 2 things, the desire to fight or the desire to breed. So you need to get their attention, and you need to make sure they understand that the opportunity to do one of those 2 things is available to them right then. You have to give them a reason to come to the calls, and that usually takes a little more intensity and purpose, aka aggression, than most hunters are comfortable giving. Number 3, getting stuck in a rut. Not getting stuck in the rut, but getting stuck in a rut. And what I'm referring to here is just sticking to one area or one tactic or one plan. If you aren't finding elk, don't stay in that spot and just hope the elk are going to magically show up, because most times they won't. Move to a new area. And to do this, it's important to have multiple areas scouted or e-scouted, and then be willing to move to those new areas as soon as you realize the current area isn't working. And the same advice goes for tactics. Don't get so set in a strategy or a hunting style that you miss out on the multiple other opportunities for success that are all around you. Number 4, not shooting your bow enough before season. And this is probably the one mistake that hurts more than any of the others. You get to that point where you finally have a shot opportunity and then you blow it. And it happens all the time. It's not good enough to be able to just hit a paper plate at 20 yards. With today's technology, it's really not too difficult to just pick up a bow and feel pretty confident with it at 20 yards, on a target, on flat ground, with a resting heart rate. But throw a screaming bull elk in your face just as you crest one of the steepest hillsides you've ever climbed. You're out of breath, at high elevation, and with a heavy backpack on. In the heat of the moment, if drawing and aiming and releasing that arrow isn't ingrained into your muscle memory, there's just too much that can, and usually does, go wrong. Number 5, not being physically ready for your hunt. And you don't have to be a marathon runner or a gym rat to kill elk, but there's nothing wrong with being in better shape either. Your physical conditioning will absolutely play a part in your ability to find and hunt elk. Elk country is usually pretty rugged, and the elk use that to their advantage. If they can create space between themselves and the predators that are chasing them, they know they'll likely stay alive another day. And as hunters, we need to be prepared to cover several miles in that steep country, and to be able to do so day after day with a heavy pack on our back. And when we're able to do that, our encounters are going to increase. And when our encounters increase, our success increases. So there you have it, 5 common archery mistakes that could make or break your elk hunt this fall. Avoid these mistakes, and you're going to be way ahead of the game and way ahead of the averages when that big bull steps into your shooting lane this season. And like I said earlier, these 5 tips, they're just the beginning. If you want to take your elk hunting to the next level and learn more about understanding the behavior of bull elk, or mastering aggressive calling, or setting up for that perfect shot, check out my full University of Elk Hunting course over at Outdoor Class. It's packed full of everything I've learned from spending the past 4 decades in the elk woods. And good luck chasing bugles this fall.